Thanks for joining us for another Make It Monday. This is Betsy Veldman for Paper Tray Ink. In today's video, I'm going to show you a technique for doing some layered sponging. We're going to mask off some layers and create a lot of depth and color on a one-layer card. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to be using snowflakes today to create this layered background, and I already have all of my snowflakes cut, and I have cut them from scraps of vinyl. Like, this is the vinyl that you would run through like a Cricut cutting machine or a Silhouette. It's just the temporary wall vinyl. I have a bunch of scraps left from various projects throughout the years, and so this is really great for this technique. You don't have to use the vinyl, it just makes it a little bit easier because things stay in place a little bit better. You can definitely just go ahead and use post-it notes or anything, just use like a temporary adhesive on the back of some paper die cuts. Whatever you'd like to do, you don't have to use the vinyl, but that's what I'm using today, and I'm actually using 3 different colors of vinyl just because it's going to help me a little bit differentiate between the layers of die cuts as I go along and build my pattern. So you don't have to use 3 colors. If you have 1 color of vinyl, go ahead and do that, or like I said, use other scraps of paper, whatever you'd like to use for your masks. You just need some sort of material that you can ink over and act as a mask on your cardstock panel. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. I have a white cardstock panel, and I'm going to start, you can see here I kind of have larger snowflakes cut from one color, medium snowflakes from another, and then some small ones cut from the third color. And I'm going to kind of work in layers and from largest to smallest. You don't have to do it this way. I'm just going to experiment and see what kind of look I get using this technique with largest to smallest die cuts. So I'm going to start off, you just have to keep in mind that whatever you lay down first, your first layer, is going to be your most prominent, because everything else is going to be kind of masked off behind this first initial layer. So whatever you put down for this first layer is going to be, like I said, your most prominent. So that's why I'm going to be using these larger snowflakes and just kind of play around with an arrangement that you like, and then go ahead and peel the backing off of those die cuts and adhere them to the panel, or use temporary adhesive, whatever method you've decided to use. Just go ahead and affix those to your panel. So once you have your first layer of die cuts attached to your cardstock panel, you need to decide on what ink colors you're going to use. You're going to need 3 ink colors, and they need to be colors that work together because they're going to be layered over the top of each other. So you'll want to start out with a lighter color and then work towards something darker. And the colors need to be compatible because, like I said, they're going to be layered over each other. So today I'm going to be using Spring Rain, Tropical Teal, and Royal Velvet. You can choose 3 colors in the same color family, or you can choose some that kind of work well together. You can also mess around with layering them on a scrap of paper before you commit to those ink colors on your project, just to see how they layer. So today I'm going to start off with my Spring Rain, and I'm going to go ahead and ink over top of these die cuts that are attached to my panel, just using a blending sponge. Now that our first layer is completely inked, we're going to go ahead and we're going to move on to adding a second layer of die cuts without removing this first layer. And you can kind of lay them out and, you know, arrange a nice pattern that you're happy with. I'm going to go with that and just go ahead and attach those. Alright, so now that our second layer of die cuts is in place, I'm going to go ahead and take the next ink in line and I'm going to sponge over everything again, now with this darker color of ink. Okay, now you can see that I've inked over everything. Now I'm going to repeat this process and I'm going to go ahead and add my third layer of die cuts. So my third layer of die cuts is in place. Now I'm going to take my darkest ink, which is the Royal Velvet, and I'm going to ink over everything once again. Alright, so we have finished our third round of inking. Now we're going to go ahead and start taking off the masks. If you have used masks that have matching stamps that you also want to stamp in those images inside those masked off areas, you're going to want to do that layer by layer as you take off your masks. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the orange layered mask, which was our last layer. That's why it's kind of nice to use the 3 different colors of vinyl, because it just helps you identify those layers a little bit easier than if you were using all vinyl that was the same color. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp. The die cuts that I just took off are from the Fab Flake stamp set, so I'm going to take the matching stamps and go ahead and stamp those images in those inked negative spaces. Alright, then we can go ahead and start taking off the next layer of die cuts, which would be this green layer. And then once again, I'm going to go in and I'm going to stamp those images with the matching stamps before I take off the final layer of masks. Alright, now it's time to take off the final layer of masks and we'll really get to see what our project looks like. So there you have this beautiful layered panel, which looks so dimensional, but is just the one single layer. It's just a really fun technique to play around with. You can combine it with all sorts of different design elements. Of course, we did the snowflakes here, but I've done it with leaves. You could do flowers, clouds, hearts, just about anything. And it can be done with standalone dies or also with the stamp and die combination. We used kind of both here. Some of the snowflakes I stamped on the inside, and the others in this very first layer, the ones that I left white, were not stamped. Those are just standalone snowflake dies. So it's a really fun technique to play around with. I hope you get a chance to participate this week, and we'll see you around. Thanks for watching. This has been Betsy Veldman for Paper Tray Ink.